Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Geek Dhaba. And this is our final video for the Wrestlemania weekend. Wrestlemania just happened. It was 2 nights, and they advertise it as the most stupendous Wrestlemania of all time. Let's discuss. Initial thoughts, JD, about the whole 2 weeks, 2 days.
It was better than last time, I believe. That's what I will say. The initial thoughts.
True. So I think we'll just go match by match. We'll start with night one, and the first match was SmackDown Tag Team Titles. The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boots, which was cut short because of an injury to Rick Boots, and that's why Nakamura had to face it alone. Probably Nakamura and Rick Boots might have won, might have been booked to win if the injury did not happen, but I don't know. The match had cut short, and I thought the match had more potential than what it turned out.
Yeah, it had potential, but again, the injuries around this time are very crucial, and that's when most of the superstars get injured. But I do believe they wouldn't have given the titles to Shinsuke and Pooch because Usos are on a top at the time and they're not lacking stuff. So I believe the match was okay. It was not the best, but it was an average pre-show, the first match of the night.
If this match was on a SmackDown show, it would have been the same. So
Yeah,
it's not a WrestleMania worthy match, to be honest.
exactly.
Yeah. So I think out of 5, I would give it a 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 approximately.
Okay, so next match was Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. And, the downfall of Drew McIntyre from facing Brock to this, to facing Lashley to this. I was just not into this feud from the start. It was just, way too soft for Drew, to be honest. An okay match, I would say 2 out of 5 for me. Nothing stand out except for the fact that I think Drew McIntyre is the first person to kick out of an end of days. Other than that, average match, you say?
Yeah, it's average. This rivalry has gone like they've stretched it way too long because it started with Corbin and then now it's Happy Corbin and stuff. It's way too stretched. I think the match was well known who would have won because it's a WrestleMania, so obviously they would have gone with Drew. The only thing which was interesting in the match was Drew cutting the ropes with his sword.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was.
And that's saying something because that was after the match.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't give it a 2.5. I would give it like a 2 because it was a normal match.
Yeah, same. I think I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
This Miz and Logan Paul with his $6 million Pokemon card on his and surprisingly enough, Logan Paul did really well in that ring. He pulled off the Three Amigos. He pulled off a frog splash. He was showing very good tag team wrestling. Obviously nothing can beat Bad Bunny from last year because he was beautifully done. But Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny for WrestleMania 39 hooked me up.
Okay. Yeah. I think it was a 2000 plus necklace around the Pokemon card as well. It wasn't cheap, so kudos to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, nowadays the people who are coming to wrestle from outside, they're doing pretty well. I mean, he didn't look like he wasn't a wrestler, or maybe because he had boxing experience. I don't know, but it was a good match. It was a good match. The Mysterios, as always, they've put up a good match. Dominic, I'll give props to Dominic because being too tall and doing the stuff he does, it's way too hard. But the ending again was good by the Miz. You win, but Miz had to pull the heel card, obviously. So it was above normal for me. It was like a 3.5 for me, I believe.
And they're obviously building to a Miz versus Logan Paul match, maybe at
Yeah.
SummerSlam. So let's see when that happens. But sure. The next match was for the Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, and I think for the for the how much WWE hates long-term story booking, I think they did it well. I know we differ on this match a lot, but for personally for me, it was done very well. The match, the the storyline progression from SummerSlam to this, and then the match itself. There were good spots. There were close near falls. There were both complemented each other very well. Obviously, Becky being Becky, she's a big superstar, and she probably does not need the belt as much as Bianca because Bianca is a very starting superstar right now. But considering that they are building a future superstar, fine enough for me. I would give it 4.5. You.
Okay. I knew Becky had to leave for a short period of time. She had to take a leave, so obviously she would have lost the match. No, these are the background stories. I mean, obviously WWE new fans don't know about this, and the whole
Hmm.
cutting the hair, and this was because she needed a new hairstyle. We get it, but I would have really wanted her to cut Bianca's hair for for starters. No hate, no hate, but I didn't like the match. One, because we've already seen Belair win the title last year, and she didn't do a proper run because her run was weak, I would say. Uh, but I really wanted, if Becky had to lose, maybe give it to someone else. Maybe give it to someone who's deserving. Rhea Ripley, she's good. She could have had a proper run. There are too many stars. Even Liv Morgan could have had a better start because let's let's be honest. Belair already had a win, already had a title run. It wasn't great. Let's give someone else a chance. So it was okay match. I mean the wrestling was good. The in ring was good, but again, I'm not so happy with the result. So let's just move.
Personally speaking, I would have loved it if it was a triple threat with Rhea Ripley in it.
Exactly.
If this was a triple threat with Rhea Ripley, Bianca, and Becky, and if you could give the title to Rhea because she's very talented,
Yeah.
it would have been. I think it would have gone 5 out of 5
Yeah,
easily.
because I personally am not looking forward to this run. I know people hate me for this, will hate me for this. I don't care. But this match, I will give it a 3 just because of the in-ring performance, and I would have given it a 4 if it was someone else with the result. But I've seen the title run from Belair before. Prove me wrong. That's all I would say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so the next match was Seth freaking Rollins versus the returning Cody Rhodes, and finally it happened.
American Nightmare.
Uh, yeah, and he came out with the entire gimmick, the whole music. They got everything for him, and it was a great moment. It was really a great moment. Uh, you know, just his return, it was beautifully done. They really give it a 2 to 3 minutes wait, built up the anticipation that if he's coming or not. And I really thought Shane McMahon was going to come out to at least give a swerve around the whole situation, but they did it. And I think the match, considering the two talents in the ring, was not surprising. It was a good match. It was a great match. Match of the night, maybe I can say.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
What do you say?
It was. I mean, they pulled it off very nicely. They pulled it off almost perfectly. I mean, we had some rumors, but I mean, come on. Cody Rhodes being back. They skipped the part where they mentioned AEW and this and that, but they
Mm.
did they really did justice with bringing the American Nightmare gimmick back from him. And what I heard was Cody didn't wanted to be referred to as the uh, it was Stardust, right? His character.
Stardust, yeah.
He didn't really wanted WWE. This is what I heard. He didn't really
Yeah, he
that.
wants them to forget that ever
Yeah.
existed.
And I would say let's forget it because this gimmick is perfect. They pulled off the match very good. And Rollins Rollins is the good heel. I mean, I don't have any complaints with this match. I will probably give it a 4.5, if not a 5.
Yeah, same for me. 4.5 out of 5 because not just the in-ring performances, the moment, the return, everything accumulates to a 4.5 because that was a great moment of Cody coming back and Cody's first opponent being Rollins because his history with Dusty Rhodes and Dusty claiming that Rollins is almost like a son of mine. So it was all tied in very nicely.
Plus the tribute as well.
Obviously,
The
yeah, the bionic elbow.
the elbow.
Uh, So yeah, it was very well done, and kudos to them. And I think they're building Cody pretty strong, and maybe Cody might be the one to take the title away from Roman. So let's see.
Yeah, but I don't know. He didn't really say he's back. So let's see what happens.
No, he has signed a multi-year
Multi,
deal,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back.
Let's see
So
what
and we'll know on Raw after WrestleMania because he's coming to the Raw brand from
yeah.
what I've heard. Okay, so the next match was for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and that was Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. And you go first.
The same old story. Just pushing Flair because she's a Flair, downgrading Ronda because she's Ronda or because she's against Flair. I don't know. It's just a mixed story. But there was no such pop. There was no such the it factor was not there. It was just a filler match for me because we all knew they wouldn't let Charlotte lose. Otherwise, if it was a fight, it was a proper fight. There was no way Ronda could lose. But
True.
I'll probably give it a 1. I'm so sorry, but I will give it a 1.
Yeah, I think the ending of the match, sorry, ruined it for me. Just putting Ronda down with a big boot
Yeah,
for the 3 count does not make sense. I mean, she's an MMA fighter. You've proven that she has no sold finishes before. So how can just a big boot be the finishing moment of such a huge match at WrestleMania? If this was Raw or SmackDown, sure, fine, that works. But at WrestleMania, these things don't work. Um, maybe if it would have if it was a natural selection from the top rope, over the top maneuver, maybe I would even say that fine, she deserved it, but she did not. Obviously, this rivalry is going to progress because Charlotte did tap out because when the referee was down. So the rivalry is going to progress whenever that happens. But I'm not interested in it. I would give it a 2.5 just for the effort of it.
yeah. Okay, fair
I
enough.
don't give much.
Fair enough.
And the main event of night one was Kevin
Um,
Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a no holds barred match in 2022. Not the line that I thought I would say in my life. But
okay,
Stone Cold looked good. Stone Cold looked
Stone
good.
Cold didn't lose it. It's still there.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, sure. He has lost a little bit of speed, but speed was never really Stone Cold's thing, to be honest. He was a brawler, and this match and Kevin Owens really bumped nicely for him, and he complemented that fighting style really well, and Stone Cold, whenever that glass shatters, the pop has always been amazing. This was Texas, obviously, so I mean, the pop couldn't be louder when Stone Cold came out. So I think it was a great way to end the show. Probably thankful that they did not end it with Ronda versus Charlotte.
Okay, I we kind of knew what was happening And I'm not really disappointed with Kevin Owens. I mean, this guy has the factor. I mean, he could go one on one with any legend. But I would give him kudos to just demolishing Texas. That really needed
Very well
cut.
done.
That really needed cuts. But yes, Stone Cold didn't lose it. He was back like he never left. The only thing which felt that he was losing touch on was the beer, because the
Mhm.
way he was drinking it, he was breathing heavy. That's it. Other than that, I didn't think
Mhm.
he lost anything.
Yeah.
Same style, same pop, same everything. Stunners, that's what we live for. And
True.
kudos to kudos to Kevin Owens for pulling this off, because I don't think
Yeah.
anyone else could pull this off.
I don't think so because the heel that Kevin is, because it was his dream to do this with Stone Cold, and for him to do it on Texas, the way he handled the entire situation, he was a very perfect person for the job, and the way he bumped forced Stone Cold really, gave Stone Cold the it factor that we all knew that Stone Cold has, but in this age, he still has it, and that's why good. That's why even a 12-minute match, it was 12 minutes long, but it did not feel like it because
Yeah,
they were doing it very well, and even Stone Cold took bumps, so it was very well done. 4 out of 5 for me.
I'll give it a 4.5 because I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
Builds back the old memories.
true,
So
true,
that
true.
that was the
Now,
first night.
yeah, that was night one. Now we move on to night two. Night two started with a touching tribute by Triple H. We miss him because we never really got to see a last match. You know, Triple H was one of the, uh, you know, one of the pillars of our, uh,
Our era.
childhoods with Undertaker, seeing both of them leave in this WrestleMania was very emotional.
Yeah, but
But the first match, yeah, sorry,
it was
you go
okay.
ahead.
Yani they build the segment perfectly with the even in the first night with the Steiners and the tribute to the Ultimate Warriors. Everything was built perfectly. They gave proper time to Undertaker, and they didn't bring out Triple H in the first night, which was good of them, because
Hmm.
if they brought out all the things in the first night, it wouldn't have made sense. So giving a proper intro the first segment of the night, it was good. And it's
Hmm.
sad, but it was handled perfectly, I believe.
True, true. Okay, so the first match was RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy, and RK Bro won. And I think that's the right result for now because RK Bro is absolutely it's a fun team. They're starting, they're starting. Musics have joined now. People are really popping for them. They are really building chemistry between these two. Obviously, one of them is going to turn on the other somewhere down the line because it's Randy Orton and Riddle. But for now, I think it was the right call to keep them together. It was a really good match. It was a really good match. All three teams complemented each other very well, and the ending was done very well as well. When Riddle gave that RKO from the top rope to Montez Ford, very well done. And Randy Orton's RKOs are the stuff of legends anyway. So you, I say 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I would say putting Randy in a tag team is good for him at the moment, because let's be honest, his stamina was he was starting to lose his stamina in the long matches, so he wasn't really cut out for it anymore. So it's best if they put it into a tag team, and for him to find such a tag team partner who really like they cope with each other. So it was good. Plus the chemistry was good with all the teams. The respect was there. The only thing I hated was after the match, where they just pushed the new NCAA whatever.
tables events, and yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. For me. I don't see him becoming a superstar. But hey, let's if it's just a match, I would say it was a pretty decent match. So maybe 3.5.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next match was the stuff of giants, Omos versus Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley, being the giant that built he is, he was looking really small in front of Omos. And I was like, how is Omos that tall? I mean, but I think Lashley carried the match. Omos was nothing in this match. Lashley carried it from start to finish. And the right result, but man, I don't know. It was just a filler match.
Filler match.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, filler match. 3 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, it's a filler match. I mean, good job by Bobby because he really showed his strength. And let's just be honest, we don't have Big Show anymore. We don't have Kali anymore. We don't have Andre and this and that. So just being a guy who is just a filler for a tall guy and just a giant in a way, it was decent. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too good. But seeing Lashley being a mid carder now from being at the top, I just felt sad. But I will just give it a 3 maybe, not a 3.5.
And it's not like WWE had a tall giant who was fast as well in Braun Strowman that they just released. But anyhow, that's a discussion for another day. The next match was the next match was Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, and this was, when WWE says that they are more of entertainment than pro wrestling, this was it. This was it. I think I really enjoyed the match. Sure, we knew what was going to happen, but the way it was executed, it was done very well. It was hilarious. Sami Zayn pulled it off very well. We know he's a good actor, he's a good heel, but the all the jackass stuff that took place was hilarious. It was the slap, the bowling ball, the bowling ball. Even the move that he pushed him through the table on the outside. It was all done very well. This was wrestling entertainment at its finest for me. 4 out of 5 for me.
If I could just put it in one sentence, this match, don't judge, but
True.
that was the match. So yeah, it was okay. I mean, Johnny Knoxville being an actor, and I don't see how they're pulling such good matches. Because I remember the old when they had the Raw segments for celebrity guest hosts, they were pathetic to be very honest. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good match. Sammy really plays heel well. So yeah, it was a 4. Yeah, approximately a 4.
Because I think sometimes when WWE does comedy stuff, it doesn't come off that well. But this time it came off really well.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know Jack has people do stuff very well, but combining these two things was a good idea.
The dwarf guy, I don't know, I forgot his name.
Wee-Man.
No disrespect.
Wee-Man.
But when he came out, I didn't know it was Wee Man or what. I was like, "Oh, Swoggle," and I was like, "No."
But he body slammed Sami Zayn. I mean, this was Hulk Hogan slamming onto the giant level stuff. I mean, how can a person this small, I mean, no respect to the small community, but how can a person this small just pick up Sami Zayn and throw him? And that was amazing.
Yeah, it really. I think they made rehearsals or something. I don't know.
Obviously, that was really fun. That was really fun.
Moving
The
on.
next match, another filler match where they had to put all the women together that were not in the show. Eight women. I'm not going to repeat the names because WWE didn't care much either for this match. Uh, okay, I mean, sure there was some good spots, but I think there should have been some better teams. If Shayna and Rhea Ripley were one team and they would have won, maybe better than what we've got. But putting Shayna in another team and Rhea in another team, both teams being weaker on their own accord, this was probably the way to give Sasha her first WrestleMania victory. Fine enough. 2.5 out of 5.
Okay, no disrespect, but please give Natalia some rest. I mean, what are you doing? She can be in the production somewhere or in the backside.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, she doesn't have it anymore. Plus, yeah, the teams were all mixed up and nothing made sense. Besides, obviously, Carmella and Zelina, they were a team from the start. But again, Sasha and Naomi wasn't really a team. I would say maybe if they would have built,
Thrown together teams, all of
yeah,
them.
maybe they would have just changed the teams around. Maybe have Shayna with Rhea, have Liv with Sasha, and Naomi with Natalia. Maybe it would have made sense. But
Hmm.
again, it's a filler match. 1.5 from me.
Fair enough. And we come to the dream match, Edge versus AJ Styles. And this match was technical. This match was methodical. This match was very well done. Sure, AJ lost, but I think the rumors of Edge starting a stable, a faction of his own, with Damian Priest being the first person to enter. I think the match, except the finish was nicely done as well. I mean, it was not a bad finish. The spear was executed perfectly, but overall, this match was done beautiful. The counters, the counters to the counters, they were. It was like the two people had studied each other and they were fighting each other, knowing this is their moveset, and it was done very well.
Yeah, I really love this edge. I mean, I don't know where they hit this edge before, but this edge is something new for us. Plus, the Judgment Day promos really like touched the spots.
Hmm.
I don't know. This edge really like makes me want to see Edge more, which was going like from our heads because we were like, Edge doesn't have it anymore. Maybe
Hmm.
he won't have it anymore. What if he
Hmm.
doesn't do good matches anymore? But this was good. This was built good. This was built very in a very short period of time,
Hmm.
but it was made good with the with the family involvements and this and that. AJ pulled it
Hmm.
off very good, and it's a dream match. Plus the ending with Damien Priest. I I really would want this to go near the mafia group like they had in TNA somehow,
Hmm.
but I don't see
Hmm.
it coming. But this was a very good match. 4.5.
Oh, yeah, same 4.5. I think, I would just give it a 5, just for the love of Edge and AJ. And
I
I
really
would
want to give this a
obviously love,
five, but I will keep it to 4.5.
yeah, sure. Uh, because I think if Edge builds a faction, he can be more of the cult leader as compared to, the one doing the matches all the time, and save his matches for, the big pay-per-views, the big moments. And him having smaller wrestlers fighting his battles for him, that would be fun to see. And I would
It's like
love if
how
Kevin Owens
Jericho is
joins this.
doing. Basically, how Jericho is doing his stuff. He's the leader
Yeah,
and he's
probably.
letting everyone
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. And I would love if Kevin Owens joins this table. because Kevin has always had this dream of working with Edge, and he joins the stable, and probably in the next till the next WrestleMania, he turns on Edge, and Edge versus Kevin Owens. Book me some of that. Okay, the next match. I don't know why this match was booked.
Exactly.
The New Day versus the Team of Sheamus. I don't want to even name the other people in this. Ridge Holland and Butch. This was, if this was booked around Big E's injury, they didn't do much for Big E, except for the fact that they wore his outfit.
Yeah, and just the slam. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Other than that, none of the people in this match came out looking better, and it didn't do good to any of them. So I think 1.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
Not much else to say.
I don't even want to comment on this. I'll just say it's a filler and just 1.5. That's it. Moving on.
Okay, so then, yes, moving on. The next match was a two-parter, a three-parter actually, if we count all three segments. First being Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. And Pat McAfee really got a pop out of the crowd. I was surprised, and people were really behind him, and he really pulled it off. He really pulled off a good match. His reflexes, his moves were really good. He gave a standing Hurricanrana, and then he leaped onto the top rope and then gave a superplex. Those were, great matches. I'll name all three segments, then you can comment. The second being Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon. Sure, it was a squash match, and obviously it was going to be a squash match. It's Vince McMahon, but this is, statistically speaking, this is Vince's first victory at WrestleMania. For sure, just before he dies, he at least gets that. But his happiness was cut short because Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold Steve Austin stunners everyone, including Vince McMahon, which was one of the worst stunners taken in the history of stunners, because Vince McMahon just crumpled under that kick. Oh man! But when that music hit, because I was not expecting Stone Cold to come again, but when that music hit, the pop was magnificent. It always is with Stone Cold music hits, but overall very well done. Again, this was also a very entertaining wrestling entertainment more than pro wrestling, you say, because Edge versus AJ Styles was pro wrestling at its finest. But this again, these three segments back to back were more entertainment based than pro wrestling, and I think it was done very well. It was very entertaining, all three of them. 4 out of 5.
Which one? You have two matches.
All three combined. I would say all three moments combined.
Okay. I will just break it down into three parts. Pat McAfee,
sure.
Austin Theory. I'll just say, bring back Kiss My Ass Club. I'll just say this. It really should have been back, but Austin Theory, I didn't really see anything from him. Pat McAfee, beautiful. The leaps, the Hurricanrana, the lucha stuff, whatever he did, that was really hard to pull off, but he did. And that match was really good. I was expecting Vince to interfere, but it was good. For a 3.5 for that match. I'll just go into the McMahon versus Pat McAfee. We knew Vince didn't have a win, but he's in a really good shape. He's in a really good shape.
Better than us.
I mean, his son-in-law should have some shame looking into his father-in-law, which he just hanged his boots. But okay, a good match. Yeah. 4 from that match. Austin, we knew it was just. I think the only thing which could have been better was to not have the botch. But I don't blame him. He's 70 plus, so it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even Austin was laughing after that. Stunner. He was laughing a lot because the way it was watched. But it was more of a moment than a match. So it
Yeah,
was
it
all
was
in the
good.
fun of it. So it all gives.
And to the
So
main
yeah,
event.
and to the main event. The main event was the unification of the titles, the undisputed championship. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. It was built up as the biggest WrestleMania match of all times. Couldn't live up to its expectations because of an injury. Roman Reigns' shoulder popped out because during the Kimura lock. Uh, could have been better. Could have been much better considering the two people in the ring, but I don't think it could live up to the expectations because of the injury. It was going fine till then, but it was a very sudden finish when they called, because obviously these things happen in these live events. You cannot predict these things, but it is what it is. Could have been better. But again, my tribal chief, has won, and I'm fine with that. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5.
Um, I don't know. The only sentence which I could think of is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for next year's WrestleMania and main event. That's all I could see because it's the same matches every time, same results every time. I don't know. But being honest, it was a normal match until the shoulder popped out. But but seeing what Brock had done with the Kimura lock before, I mean, he could have just broken his arm, and I really wanted Brock to win, but I know he's taking a time off after this match, and it makes sense. But it was just pushed, and the after the halfway through the match, it was just uh, finished in a very short period of time. My tribal chief, I won't say my tribal chief because I switched sides after this match because oh my god, I'm tired of seeing this guy because same moves, same scenario, same results, make something different, do something different. At least have a new
Cody,
finisher. I mean,
Cody versus Reigns is the new.
Cena, Cena had the same finishes, but at least he brought the karate, whatever he did, like at least bring something new. That's all I would say. Um, three out of five.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. Because of the injury, it was cut short, and it couldn't be what it could be. That's all I would say. So because we don't know what the actual ending was going to be, because it was cut short because of the injury. So it is what it is. Both matches that contained the bloodline ended with injuries. The first one and the last one. So these things happen in live events. Uh, so that was WrestleMania night 1 and 2. Overall, what would you give out of 10? Both nights combined, out of 10.
I'll probably give it an 8. They could have made it more better, but it wasn't too bad either. Better than last year, but could have been done better. An 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think an 8.5 out of 10. Because there were some dream matches, there were some good pops, Cody coming back, AJ versus Edge. These were some things that maybe we didn't think that we would be seeing in our lifetimes, but these things happen, these things happened, and for that 8.5 out of 10. All right, people, this was a review for WrestleMania 38. Keep following us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and please do that. Please ask people to do that, because this really helps us. I don't know if you know that or not, but it really does. So subscribe, like, share, and till next WrestleMania, take care.